Chelsea's striker shortlist is expanding again, and this one carries serious ceiling potential. The latest name gaining traction is Igor Thiago of Brentford. Interest from Chelsea is not isolated. Manchester City and Bayern Munich are also reported admirers. But what elevates this situation beyond routine scouting noise is the internal belief at Brentford. Sources close to the club have suggested they view Thiago as a future best striker in the world candidate. That is not casual praise. That is conviction. Chelsea's attacking depth already looks crowded on paper. Juan Pedro continues to establish himself. Liam Delap remains a developmental project with physical upside. Marc Guiu provides youthful depth. Emmanuel Emega is arriving from Strasbourg in the summer. Yet, the Blues are still exploring the market. That signals dissatisfaction, not necessarily with talent, but with reliability and elite-level output. Thiago fits a different profile. At 24 years old, he is entering prime years rather than emerging into them. His Premier League numbers are compelling. 17 goals this season, second only to Erling Haaland. An expected goals figure of 14.73 suggests overperformance, clinical execution rather than volume padding. That efficiency matters. Elite sides require forwards who convert marginal chances under pressure. Thiago has demonstrated that capacity. Brentford's structural model complicates matters. The player is under contract until 2031. There is no financial urgency to sell. Sitting 7th in the table under Keith Andrews, the project remains competitive and upwardly stable. From Thiago's perspective, there is no crisis forcing an exit. That shifts leverage decisively toward Brentford. If Chelsea pursue this aggressively, it would require a premium offer, potentially north of 70 to 80 million pounds, depending on bidding dynamics. Manchester City and Bayern Munich monitoring the situation only strengthens Brentford's negotiating position. Scarcity inflates valuation. Tactically, Thiago would offer Rosenio a different attacking dimension. He combines physical presence with intelligent movement across defensive lines. His hold-up play has matured significantly since his time at Club Brugge. In transition, he attacks space aggressively. In structured possession, he can pin centre-backs and create central gravity for wide attackers. The core question becomes squad rationalisation. If Thiago arrives, someone exits. Liam Delap is the most obvious candidate. Manchester United have retained interest after previous attempts to sign him. While Delap possesses raw strength and aerial threat, he has yet to consistently impose himself at Premier League level. Chelsea must decide whether patience outweighs immediate productivity. Juan Pedro, by contrast, appears secure. His technical fluidity allows him to operate between lines or wide, giving Rosenio flexibility. Guiu remains developmental depth. Emega's arrival adds further internal competition, though his recent injury setback complicates his immediate impact timeline. Signing Thiago would signal a shift away from potential accumulation toward proven domestic output. There is also psychological impact. Brentford labelling him future world-class elevates narrative pressure. Players who carry that internal endorsement often respond with elite mentality. If Chelsea believe the same trajectory exists, delaying could mean watching his value escalate beyond accessibility. Comparison inevitably extends to Julian Alvarez as well. Alvarez offers Champions League pedigree and multi-system adaptability. Thiago offers Premier League acclimatization and peak age efficiency. The strategic trade-off is subtle but important. Adaptation risk versus valuation risk. Chelsea's broader objective remains clear: closing competitive distance with Arsenal and Manchester City. To do that, elite goal production is non-negotiable. 17 league goals in February is not projection. It is tangible output. Financially, this would not be opportunistic. It would be assertive. Brentford will resist. The contract length protects them. But if Chelsea want a striker already thriving within the league's physical and tactical demands, Thiago presents a compelling case. The decisive factor will be conviction. If the internal recruitment data supports Brentford's bold assessment, hesitation becomes costly. Elite forwards rarely become cheaper over time. Let me know what you think of this decision in the comments, like and subscribe. In other news, Chelsea didn't just win at the MKM Stadium, they witnessed history. Estevão Willian has rewritten the record books, and at the same time, serious questions are now being asked about Alejandro Garnacho. Estevão Willian eclipses Marc Guiu's record to rewrite Chelsea history books. Estevão Willian has rewritten the Chelsea history books at the MKM Stadium, producing a landmark goal that has seen the 18-year-old eclipse a scoring record previously held by Callum Hudson-Odoi. Chelsea put in what was arguably their best performance yet under Liam Rosenior against Hull City, with no slow-up from minute 1 to minute 90. And it looks as if Rosenior's training ground exercises are being put into good practice, as his reaction after Pedro Neto's corner went in was priceless. Now, for the first time in a long time, Chelsea has a full week to prepare for its next Premier League game against Burnley. But for the time being, it's worth celebrating yet another record being broken by Estevão Willian. Estevão Willian becomes the first teenager to score 7 goals in a season. Estevão Willian has become so much of a favourite that Chelsea fans were even heard chanting Stevo during the draw with Leeds United. And he's only gone and cemented his status at Chelsea. Estevão has 7 goals in all competitions for Chelsea this season, the most by a teenager for the club in the Premier League era. What records does Estevão Willian hold? Estevão Willian has broken many records in what is proving to be a historic season. The 18-year-old's impact began early, becoming Chelsea's youngest ever Champions League scorer at 18 years and 181 days against Ajax. Domestically, he also set a club record as the youngest player to register a Premier League assist, 18 years, 120 days. He also became the youngest Brazilian in Premier League history to record both a goal and an assist in a single match, 18 years, 276 days, surpassing a long-held record by Rafael. Additionally, he became the youngest Brazilian to score a Premier League winner with a stoppage-time strike against Manchester City. In other news, Micah Richards notices something worrying that Chelsea's Alejandro Garnacho is doing off the ball. Chelsea booked their place in the 5th round of the FA Cup with a comfortable 4-0 win over Hull City, but Micah Richards was damning in his verdict of Alejandro Garnacho. A hat-trick from Pedro Neto and an Estevão finish secured an easy win for Liam Rosenior, who will have enjoyed his return to the club he played for 5 years before managing during the 2023-24 season. Rosenior made 7 changes to the side that drew with Leeds. Only Robert Sanchez, Moises Caicedo, André Santos and Estevão survived in the starting 11, with Garnacho one player to come into the side. But before the game, Argentina international Garnacho was discussed with the winger struggling for form under Rosenior after being hooked at half-time during the 3-2 comeback win over West Ham at home. Micah Richards doesn't hold back on Alejandro Garnacho. Speaking on BBC Sports coverage of the game, Richards was asked about getting the best out of the £40 million summer signing from Man United. He responded by claiming he's noticed Garnacho's work rate. He and Hato against West Ham on that left-hand side got hooked, but he has got something. With Garnacho, you'd want him to be a bit more consistent. Fans have been on his back, Richards claimed. He needs to show more conviction. He's not tracking runs. You need to be doing the basics, especially with the competition. As a fullback, I'd push him high because he's not going to track the runner. Garnacho would remain on the field of play for the entire 90 minutes, perhaps a sign that Rosenior does not feel the need to rest him ahead of next weekend's clash against relegation strugglers Burnley. Garnacho gets just 5 out of 10 in the Chelsea ratings. A typical Garnacho display. Little fireworks here and there, but overall, pretty frustrating. None will be more frustrated than Garnacho, with the clash against Hull and Chelsea's dominance the perfect platform. Instead, the former Man United man will be ruining a missed opportunity. The Chelsea Chronicle gave him a rating of 5 out of 10, when the remainder of the Chelsea squad were earning scores of around 7 or 8. Frustrating at times, exciting at times. The enigma of Alejandro Garnacho continues. Overall, he probably didn't do enough to bolster his minutes in the coming weeks, the Chelsea Chronicle's Jack Drury writes. With the Premier League entering the final third and Chelsea remaining competitive on 3 fronts, there will be more chances for Garnacho, but he will be annoyed that he's been unable to make an impact. So, Blues fans, Estevao is breaking records at 18 years old. But here's the real question. Should he now be undroppable in the Premier League? And are you concerned about Garnacho's work rate? Drop your honest take below. Subscribe to Chelsea Daily Buzz. In previous news, Chelsea have made contact. And suddenly, the Julian Alvarez situation has shifted. The Atletico Madrid forward is now open to a Premier League return after initial phone inquiries from Stamford Bridge. While Barcelona remain his preferred destination if he leaves Spain, that path is financially complicated, and Chelsea are currently the most proactive suitors. According to reports in Spain, the Blues have already explored the conditions of a potential deal. Arsenal are also monitoring the 26-year-old, but at this stage Chelsea are pushing harder than anyone else. Alvarez is not just a name, he is production. Last season he delivered 29 goals in 57 appearances across all competitions, including 17 in La Liga and 7 in the Champions League. He is tactically flexible, presses aggressively, links play intelligently, and thrives in high-tempo systems. For a Chelsea side that has struggled with clinical edge in key moments, this profile is transformative. If Barcelona cannot structure a viable offer, England becomes realistic. And if England becomes realistic, Chelsea cannot afford hesitation. Allowing a 29-goal forward to strengthen Arsenal, direct London competition, would be strategically damaging. Liam Rosenior's project is already chasing the established top tier. Closing the gap requires elite attackers, not potential projects. For Liam Delap, an Alvarez arrival would significantly complicate minutes. The Argentine operates at a different stage of development, proven in La Liga and Europe. That is immediate hierarchy shift, not squad depth. If Alvarez chooses the Premier League, the battle becomes binary. Arsenal offer Champions League continuity and title stability. Chelsea offer centrality in a long-term rebuild and potentially a more guaranteed starting role. The decision will hinge on project persuasion and financial structure. But here's the critical variable: momentum. Chelsea are initiating contact. Arsenal are observing. In transfer windows, initiative often dictates outcome. While striker talks gather heat, Chelsea's recruitment focus extends deeper. Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson have emerged as primary midfield targets ahead of summer. Both are young, Premier League proven, technically progressive and tactically versatile. Both would compete immediately for minutes alongside Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Importantly, Chelsea maintains strong relationships with Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. That institutional leverage could become decisive if bidding escalates toward record-level domestic fees. Wharton has been tracked long before his Palace move, an indicator of sustained scouting conviction. Anderson, meanwhile, was heavily admired internally, with past suggestions that significant squad restructuring would have been considered to accommodate him. This is not opportunistic interest. This is long-term profiling. Caicedo and Fernandez have been durable. Andre Santos has impressed. Beyond that, depth is fragile. Romeo Lavia's availability remains inconsistent. Dario Esugo has yet to establish fitness continuity. Reece James has provided emergency midfield minutes, but his optimal role remains right back. Elite teams operate with 4 or 5 reliable central options. Chelsea currently trust 3. That is not sustainable over a full Premier League and European campaign. Wharton offers tempo control and line-breaking passing. Anderson provides verticality and ball-carrying aggression. Both align with a modern, possession-dominant framework. This summer is shaping into a structural window, not a cosmetic one. Julian Alvarez represents attacking certainty. Wharton or Anderson represent midfield stability and future-proofing. Chelsea are no longer just collecting talent. They are targeting positional authority. If they land Alvarez and one of the English midfielders, the competitive distance to Arsenal narrows materially. Fail, and the hierarchy above them consolidates further. The next transfer window will not define the entire project, but it will determine its trajectory. And right now, Chelsea are moving first. If Alvarez is truly open to a Premier League return, Chelsea have to go all in. But here's the real question. Would you prioritise signing Alvarez or securing Wharton and Anderson first? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you subscribe to Chelsea Daily Buzz.